must understand, oh, the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. That it's only the thrill of boy meeting girl, opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. You must try to ignore that it means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? It may seem to you that I'm acting confused when you're close to me. If I tend to look dazed, I read it someplace, I've got cause to be. There's a name for it. There's a phrase that fits. But whatever the reason, you do it for me. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? I've been taking on a new direction, but I have to say, I've been thinking about my own protection. It scares me to feel this way. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? What's got to do with it? What's love but a sweet old-fashioned notion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Who got to do with it? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Got to do with it. But a second-hand emotion.
Hello everyone, I'm Jessie Downs, and I'm delighted to welcome you all tonight to my Voice Studios Fall 2020 recital entitled What's Love Got to Do with It? I hope you all enjoyed our fun little prelude by Tina Turner, the song that indeed inspired the show's title. However, I picked that title because it really sums up a theme that runs throughout all of the music on tonight's program. It's a bit of a trope of opera that every story is a love story, and while many of the songs on tonight's program could simply be called love songs, they also each have their own color, context, and insight into the human experience. I think that opera often features love stories because love is a universal experience and also a very varied experience. And so by telling love stories, opera really is telling human stories. And likewise, in the rare instance when something doesn't seem like a love story, it's interesting how we can usually tie that back to a greater theme of love. You'll be hearing tonight from the 6 students who have stuck with their vocal studies through all the upheaval of this year: Leo, Beth, Helen, Nick, Namia, and Leslie. Thanks to you all for your hard work and congratulations. I'd also like to thank our accompanist Jonathan Vogtel, Aberforth D, who has made orchestral accompaniments to operatic pieces available online, and to my fiancé, Alex Huddleston, who provided a very special accompaniment for a piece you will hear later in the show. I'm also excited to announce that we have had 3 new students join our studio recently, and while it's a little too recent for them to be featured tonight, I hope that you'll get to hear them in the spring. To all of my students who are tuning in tonight, and to our audience members, I can't see or hear you, however, you can let us know you're here by typing in the chat, and we would love to see that, because it's great to know that you're here with us tonight, and we really appreciate all your support. As I said in our summer program, because of COVID, we've been primarily conducting voice lessons online, and even though we have had a few in-person check-ins over the course of the fall, it has been a strange time for voice teaching. However, the students have learned a variety of new technical and musicianship skills that you will hear them apply in repertoire tonight. I also really love this program because I believe it shows the personalities of our singers in the different pieces, the way that they perform them, and their introductions. So from here on out, I am going to pass most of the emceeing over to the students themselves. So without further ado, here is Leo Mitchell to introduce the first piece.
Il Sol dell'Anima is a love song. At this point in Verdi's Rigoletto, the audience knows that the Duke is, to put it politely, a womanizer. Will his love interest figure him out? Or maybe will he change his ways for her? Please enjoy Il Sol dell'Anima from Rigoletto.
Amore,
Thanks so much for that, Leo. It was so much fun to put together that scene with you. Gilda from Rigoletto is one of my favorite roles, and it's so much fun to get to juxtapose her innocence and idealism with, as Leo put it, the Duke's less pure motivations. However, as Leo mentioned, that scene is from early in the opera, so at that point we still have this feeling of the hopefulness of love. Next up is Beth with a piece of a very different kind.
The first piece that I'll be singing today is Gretchen am Spinnrade by Franz Schubert. Schubert lived a short life, dying at age 31, but he started composing while he was a teenager and produced prolific amounts of music in a very short time. Gretchen is just one of hundreds of Lieder, German art songs that he wrote, and one of many that were inspired by the poetry of Goethe. This piece is based on a scene in Faust that tells the love story of Faust and Gretchen. With a driving piano line meant to evoke her spinning wheel, Gretchen sings of her heartbreak and piercing longing for Faust after he makes his deal with the devil.
Hello everyone, my name is Helen Lowry and my piece is Au bord de l'eau by Gabriel Faure. Au bord de l'eau means by the water, and it's about sitting and reflecting with the one you love and simply appreciating everything around you for what it is, by letting the world and time pass by without a care and adoring one another as you are, where you are. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.
My name is Nick, and the title of my piece is O leggiadri occhi belli, which means O graceful lovely eyes. Its composer is unknown, and it doesn't have any context or any related pieces. The lyrics, fortunately, leave little to be desired in the way of narrative. The story is clear immediately and throughout the piece. It is a tragedy of unrequited love. The narrators are overcome with sorrow and longing for that which he will never have, so it's not a particularly cheerful piece. Nonetheless, it is a beautiful reflection on love, whether for a person or of some other kind, and the pain that it can cause when it is scorned.
Oh, name is Mia Kelly, and I'll be singing the role of Carmen in this next piece. In the opera Carmen, Carmen is a gypsy woman who seduces the soldier Don Jose and convinces him to join in her nomadic life. In the card trio that you're about to hear, Carmen and her friends, Fresquita and Mercedes, are pulling cards to reveal their futures. While Carmen's friends pull cards of good fortunes, Carmen pulls the card of death and says that she knows it means her relationship with Jose is ill-fated. Don Jose and Carmen have clashing desires. Carmen desires her freedom, while Don Jose wants to keep Carmen all for himself. Because of this, Carmen decides to leave Don Jose, but later in the aria he comes back. When he asks her to take him back and she refuses, he kills Carmen. He is then arrested for a death, which will inevitably lead to his death as well, just as the cards foretold. This piece is then about love, but also about clashing wills, the power of fate, and the inevitability of death.
Amen.
my next piece will be Che faro senza Euridice. Che faro senza Euridice is an aria sung by a mythological man named Orfeo who loses his wife, Euridice, and is mourning her death for a second time. The first time she dies, Orfeo pleads to the gods to allow him to travel to the underworld and save her. Amore, or Cupid, appears and grants him permission to enter the underworld under one condition. He must not look at Euridice or he will lose her forever. Orfeo succeeds in finding his wife, and although Euridice is happy to be back with Orfeo, she is taken aback by his coldness, and sees no point in leaving paradise without Orfeo's love. To try to convince her of this love, he turns around and then he loses her again. Driven by grief, Orfeo attempts to kill himself to join Euridice in the underworld, but Amore stops Orfeo and brings Euridice back to life, and she and Orfeo are reunited. This aria is about love and lost, and a power of love to conquer all, even death.
Senza il mio bene
thanks so much to Helen, Nick, Namia, and Beth and Leslie for those lovely performances. Next up, we have a solo piece by Leslie.
At the heart of Verdi's Il Trovatore is the story of a gypsy woman, Azucena, whose mother was burnt at the stake for having allegedly cast a spell on a nobleman's infant brother. In the time of the opera, Azucena is now an older woman with a grown child of her own, and the trauma of witnessing her mother's death is something that she passes on to her son. In her aria Studi la Vampa, Azucena describes the scene as her mother is led to the stake where she will be burnt. She is dressed in black, disheveled, barefoot, and a crowd has gathered around and shouts cries of joy at the prospect of seeing this painful death. So from that moment onward, Azucena is obsessed by a desire to exact revenge, and we therefore see in this aria and in the opera a love for her mother, whom she lost at a young age when she was young, and of course this obsessive desire for revenge that she shares with her son.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for that, Leslie. As Leslie so beautifully explained, that's a rare instance of a song that is not explicitly a love song, but as is so common in Verdi's operas, the themes of revenge or justice get tied in with themes of love in a very interesting way. Our next piece is a duet between myself and Helen Lowry, and it is also a song that's not really a love song on the surface, but does tie back to that greater theme. And, interestingly, it is not an opera aria, but is a rock song. And I wanted to include something like this on the program to show that vocal technique can be applied in a variety of musical contexts. The piece is by Queen and David Bowie, and it's called Under Pressure. I believe many of you will know it. And again, while on the surface, this is mostly a song about all the societal pressures that we experience in the modern world, and all the terrible things that can come out of that, there is a refrain near the end of the song that says, "Why can't we give love one more chance?" And in this case, the writers of the song were thinking of love as a lofty ideal, not a romantic ideal, but an ideal of human togetherness that could perhaps solve our many problems. I hope you enjoy Under Pressure. Now we will hear from Beth White again before our finale.
My second piece today is Da Geter hin, which is an aria from the opera Der Rosenkavalier by Richard Strauss. And it's sung by the Marschallin. The Marschallin is a beloved character from Der Rosenkavalier, one we meet in the opening scene as she enjoys the company of her very young lover. Over the course of the opera, our middle-aged princess struggles with regret and the passing of time, eventually releasing her young man to an age-appropriate woman for a version of love that she had been denied. She's both fiery and wistful in this piece. At the beginning, she's poking at the conventions of the time that married off young women to much older men. And she grows plaintive as she remembers her youthful marriage and is looking back over her life. And she sings of the indignities that women face as they age.
Sein.
Thank you all so much for coming tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the program. We have one final piece for you, and it is the ending of the scene with which we began the program. So from Rigoletto, Gilda and the Duke, they meet. The Duke expresses what seem to be his pure intentions of love for Gilda, and then Rigoletto, Gilda's father, is heard to be returning, and so Gilda ushers the Duke to leave. In this moment, they promise love to each other, and they say, addio, addio, goodbye. So Leo and I thought it would be fun to sing through this together as a little farewell, a little closure on our program. We hope you enjoy. Addio, addio, speranza ed anima.
Thank you.